Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
All right. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. Sam Bushman on your radio. Hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use. No doubt continues now. This, my fellow Americans, is the broadcast for May 1st. The Democrats are calling it May Day. They're melting down. They say Donald just ran the economy off the cliff. Donald says be patient. I stand kind of in the middle and say, you know what? Donald's right. We got to be patient. Donald's right. We got to have tariffs. Donald's right. We got to use them as a bargaining chip and a negotiating tool. I agree with that. But they're also right when they say, hey, we can't create a moral hazard. Right now, people are so confused they don't even know what to do. That's a problem. Donald's saying he hasn't made any mistakes at all. He runs the country and he runs the world, and it's just all great. I don't really see it that way like he does. I think Trump's right on a lot of things, but I think the only way to, come back, economically speaking, strong, is to change the fiat currency, fake money, with hidden tax called inflation ever present, for real money, constitutional currency, honest money. Believe it or not, good news, Florida has passed legislation. Florida has passed legislation for transactional constitutional currency, or transactional gold and silver legal tender. In other words, Florida is getting in line with the Constitution, and I dig it, and I commend them. They say the bill now awaits Governor DeSantis' signature. Andrew Muller over at thenewamerican.com wrote that piece, and it's a great, great headline. And in my opinion, it provides a lot of hope for the country. Good for the great state of Florida. Now, Utah's had that for quite some time. Utah started it, and other states have followed. I commend the other states for following suit. I commend Utah for providing the lead on this. A guy by the name of Larry Hilton, a good friend of mine, actually, is the attorney that put that in the legislative hopper in the great state of Utah and led by example. And now it's starting to take root all over the nation, and it's a huge start, people. It's great, great news. You want to make America great again, go back to constitutional honest money currency. Our buddies over at freewatercoinco.com can help you with that, by the way. freewatercoinco.com. They do a phenomenal job. Anyway, I digress. But honest money is key. And if you want to have a real economy, what you do is you start with honest money. Okay, now the hidden inflation tax is gone. You appropriately negotiate trade with other nations so you have fair trade, not free trade. And then what you do is you work on educating families about what a real economy looks like. And let me tell you the best scenario for an economy. That is a balance between do-it-yourself, DIY, so to speak, and community. And saying, when is it best to do myself, and when is it best to let the community handle it? And then the transactions that result from those decisions make up an honest economy. So I might choose to do something out of necessity to save money myself, or I might choose to say, look, somebody's so much better at it than I am. So-and-so does it every day, I don't. Someone has the equipment or the know-how that I don't have. Then you start to kind of learn about what your core competencies are. Listen to me. You start to understand what your core competencies are. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say that I'm an IT guy. Oh, I am. Okay, makes sense. And let's say that I build websites, and I manage projects that build websites. I'm not the programmer, but we build websites. I play a role as project manager. I play a role of researcher. Other people write the code, and we build websites, okay? That's what we do. Now, that would be considered my core competency, right? And then if we have, well, let's say that I want to get chicken. I want to eat chicken. I can either grow my own chickens or raise my own chickens, whatever you want to call it. I can slaughter them and I can eat them. I can buy them from big pharma, big farm organizations. Tyson chicken or whatever is an example. Okay. Or I can buy them from somebody else who maybe raises chickens as their core competency. Maybe they're a farmer and they raise chickens and they have cows and they say, Sam, you can buy eggs from me and you can buy meat from me and you can buy cheese from me. And, maybe I create a local farmer relationship, or maybe I join a co-op or I help fund the raising of these chickens and pigs, and then I get a freezer full of meat because I partner with them. You know what? I developed the website, and they pay me, and then I buy eggs and chickens from them, and they work with me, and then somebody else helps me put up a fence because we're friends, we're neighbors, we're whatever, and we want to help each other. Well, what's that? And we've got a local economy happening right there, people, that doesn't require big business, big corporate, Walmart or anybody else. It doesn't require anything. We've traded for some of it. We've spent money between one another. It's been an honest transaction reality. And I think we need more of that. And I think it starts with constitutional currency. And so Florida has passed legislation to make transactional gold and silver legal tender. And the newamerican.com with that piece. And I just commend the legislative body in Florida, and I beg Ron DeSantis, sign that baby, and sign that baby soon, brother. Good work, and let's get her done. Meanwhile, we look to the government for economic reality. And I don't think we should look to Donald or Joe or any of those people for that. I don't think we should be looking to the federal government for economic discussions, output, whether we're going to sink or swim by the Donald or by the Joe in the first place. That's a mistake. Look at your neighbors. Look at your spouse. Look at your children. And look at how you can create communities. Look at how you can trade back and forth and not even need government money, government currency in the first place. All right, let me give you an example. We can't look to these people. 4 House Democrats who raced to El Salvador to stand up for a deported, illegal, criminal, alien migrant. Well, they stayed in a fancy hotel. Yeah. They traveled to the capital city of, I guess it's San Salvador. Let's see. Yeah, of San Salvador to advocate for the release of this MS-13 gang member, Omar Rodrigo Garcia, back on April 21st. Okay, that's what they did. They went there. Now, they went there on the taxpayers' dimes, we found out. Americans should be livid about that. I'm absolutely livid, right? They stayed at what's called the Hilton San Salvador, a luxury property situated against a picturesque backdrop of the capital city's volcano. Is that what they should be doing on our dime? That's what a source familiar with the members' accommodation told the Daily Caller. Okay? The San Salvador Hotel boasts rooms with scenic views of the capital city's landscape. It's got outdoor terraces. Anyway, where you can have margaritas and dine on local treats. They say including made-to-order pupusas. Now we're talking. I love pupusas. They're delicious. But what is going on when these clowns are doing this, right? I mean, these guys are literally living high on the hog. Now, pupusas aren't expensive, though. Pupusas are actually quite inexpensive. Now, I don't know about the made-to-order kind at these fancy hotels. If they're very inexpensive, I don't know. But they say the hotel is described as providing a tranquil retreat for those seeking comfort and convenience. That's according to Hotels.com. Now, think about that. I mean, are these guys really on a mission to free this guy? Or are they on a, party vacation disguised as let's look out for this thug gang member? Google rates the property as a 5-star hotel, people. What do you think of that? When these clowns are staying at a 5-star hotel? Hotels.com saying it's awesome. Google saying it's awesome. I'm not really comfortable with all that. Are you? I mean, I'm going, what? But that's really what they've done. House Republicans' campaign arm sharply criticizes the 4 Democrats for taking a, quote, tropical vacation during a congressional resource period where people are expected to kind of go back to what? Their constituents and have town halls and all that. They're given time to spend in their districts and etc. But Democrats booked their tropical vacation to El Salvador in the lap of luxury. Ladies and gentlemen, you comfortable with that? I'm certainly not. More in seconds on Liberty Roundtable Live.
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At cspoa.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever.
This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would enslave this country in darkness, and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in fact.
TheEpochTimes.com.
Cybercrime is exploding. Take Sarah from Sweet Delights, whose world crumbled after having to close with not being able to bounce back. Small businesses are prime targets, but the right strategies can keep yours safe. Jay Hill, CEO of Network Providers, has co-authored The Cyber Playbook Simplifies Cybersecurity for Business Owners with Strategies to avoid costly breaches and fines. Build a strong cyber attack response. Secure your business with key protections. Cyber threats aren't slowing down, but you can stay ahead. Protect your business. Ensure its security for tomorrow. Get the Cyber Playbook today at networkprovidersinc.com/cyber-playbook or call 385-446-5500 now.
Back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about these 4 Congress critters, these Democrats that went to El Salvador. They went to this Hilton Garden, whatever, fancy hotel. The hotel is described as providing a tranquil retreat for those seeking comfort and convenience. That's hotels.com. Google rates the property as a 5-star hotel. That's what these people are doing on our dime. And then what they do is they manipulate the results and put on social media where they don't show all the details of where they really are. They kind of show you like very vague backgrounds and as if they're just like on the people's business looking out for this poor, downtrodden, abused migrant. See the words they use and the pictures they paint, and the mainstream press all too willing to go along with the lie. Okay? They were supposed to be meeting with their constituents on a recess. Now, I got a problem with recess for Congress in the first place. We got to work out a way. We got to work out a way for people to stay in their districts all the time. With modern technology, we could do that easily. In fact, to put all 435 members of Congress in the House at one time, seems like a terrorist's dream, doesn't it? To put all 100 members of the Senate in the same location at the same time seems very foolish. Why don't we decentralize? Why don't we, find ways to make that happen? I mean, everybody conducts their banking transactions online. Is it safe and secure? If the answer is no, then we need to stop it. If the answer is yes, then it's certainly good enough for Congress critters to vote, isn't it? So they were supposed to go back to their districts on a recess. Sounds like kindergarten, but I digress. And they literally ditched their constituents and bailed at El Salvador and live high on the hog. and take a vacation at our expense. It's absolutely insane, right? But they stayed at the Hilton in San Salvador. I don't even know how to respond to this. It's just weird. It's bizarre. Right? I just find that fascinating. Margaritas, pupusas. I mean, I want to go. Who will pay for me to go? Right? Anyway, there you have it. I just find that so strange. So strange. Well, it gets worse because the Republicans are the ones that are on recess. They're the ones that are avoiding town hall meetings as well because they don't want to have to back Trump's play. And guys like me, if I get to a town hall meeting with my congressman, I'm going to basically, batter on the turret promoting pro-life and why they haven't done more to defund Planned Parenthood, etc. I'm going to bang on the turret and say, you know what? Why do you guys take so many recesses? Why do you guys work less days per year than any group I know of? And how come you've done nothing really in the 90 days, 120 days? Where are we at, right? 100 days for Donald, but 120 for Congress. Okay, why haven't you done anything to decrease the size and scope and expenditures of government? Why did you back Mike Johnson and spend us into oblivion, right? Well, they don't want to answer questions like that, so the Republicans are kind of dodging the town hall meetings and the whole reason that government kind of backed away, or government, what do? They went on vacation too. Is going on recess a vacation? Well, not if you hold town halls with your constituents, probably not. But so is it worse to go to El Salvador and spend a bunch of money under a big old lie that you're backing this illegal criminal gang thug, but yet you're really partying on the taxpayers' dime? I appreciate Republicans calling out Democrats over this. I appreciate the Daily Caller bringing this news story to my attention. Where's the rest of the mainstream press to call to account the truth? We need to be truth tellers in this business, people. We need to stand up for what matters most. We need to be cognizant of the reality on the ground. And the reality on the ground is, the Democrats, 4 of them went off and hung out in this fancy posh retreat. But the other folks didn't do much. What did your congressman do while these 4 clowns were in El Salvador? I have no idea what my congressman did, because I can't get a hold of them if my life depends on it. Because I can't talk to them and I can't know what they're saying or doing. And I even try to get interviews with them to see what's going on and tap into what we can do to help them and support them in their righteous endeavors. But here's what happens when I call Congress. You get a voicemail. Who do you want to talk to? Then it goes to voicemail. Or it goes to some staffer that doesn't have a clue what's even going on. And then I say, can I get my congressman or somebody to call me back on this critical issue? Oh, absolutely, sir. They take down my number. Nobody calls. It's like, call me maybe, right? It's insane. And that's happening. And then I basically say, well, what's my congressman doing? I can't know. I can't find out. They won't do radio interviews. So I say, I want to do a radio interview with my congressman. I'm in the district. I'm a nationally syndicated talk show host. Let's go. They say, email this person. They're our press secretary. So I email that person, and they start out good every time. Oh, yes, absolutely. Would love to do the interview. Hi, Mr. Bushman. When works? Then I throw out a few times. Oh, the congressman can't do that. Then they're busy. They're in Washington, or they're in their home district, or they're here or there, everywhere. It's like the Scarlet Pimpernel. Here, there, and everywhere, but you can't find that poor, right? What the heck? All right, so I can't find out what my congressman or senator is even doing. And it's great that they're so critical of their Democratic colleagues, and I agree that it's worthy of criticism, because it's not right what they're doing, is it? I don't think so. But yet, that's what we see. Well, what are the other guys doing? Well, they're on vacation. You don't know where they're at. They're supposed to be on recess. They're doing whatever they're doing. Is it a lot better than going to El Salvador? Well, at least it's not spending as much money. But you know what they're working on, don't you? They know that pardon the pun, the crap's going to hit the fan. They know that the economy's not doing well. They know there's going to be riots and trouble this summer. They know there's going to be economic and all kinds of turmoil. They know that the grid is in serious jeopardy. They know all these things. Of course, they're not doing anything about it, but they know about all those things. Headline says the U.S. government is upgrading a secret FEMA bunker. Why, you ask? Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, that's classified. Can't tell you. That's what we're talking about. I kid you not. The U.S. government is upgrading a secret FEMA bunker. Why, you ask? They can't tell you, it's classified. I kid you not. It's interesting. It's scary. Isn't it? Trevor Hughes writes this for USA Today. And I kind of go, what? Trevor Hughes, USA Today, with this piece. And I kind of look at it and go, what does this even mean? It means they know. Listen, it means they know something's coming. And they want to protect themselves. Right? That's what that means, in my opinion. Here's the details. They say let's get this right, a hidden underground facility located 60 miles west of Washington, D.C., is getting upgrades to help protect it. I don't know how to respond to this. We're funding this. It's getting an upgrade to help, quote, protect federal government during a crisis. Do you think they think there's a crisis coming? Wow. I wonder why they think a thing like that, you know? It's a secret underground FEMA, they call it a base, where congressional leaders hid following the 9/11 attacks, is getting an upgrade. So they've got this bunker. They used it during 9/11. Now they want to upgrade that dude. So while Congress should be looking out for the American people, you've got some going to El Salvador to hang out and eat pupusas and drink margaritas and pretend they're there to back a gang thug, an illegal gang thug. The mainstream press doesn't report on it. The new media taking center stage, Tucker Carlson, dailycaller.com doing a great job on it. And now you find out, what are they doing? Well, you can't find out directly because you can't get a hold of your congressman or senator, so you got to rely on the news media to tell you, see? But now you got a hidden underground facility located 60 miles west of Washington, D.C., is getting an upgrade to help the federal government during the crisis. A secret underground FEMA base. And they used it during the 9/11 stuff. What do you think of that? You cool with that? But what exactly are workers doing there, you might ask? They call it Mount Weather. What's Mount Weather? Yeah, good question. That's what we're talking about. I'll break down more of this in seconds when we come back. You are listening to the one and only Liberty Roundtable Live Talk Show. I'm telling you right now, we're not playing any games. We're telling you the truth about who's who and what's what. Because you know what? Truth is power. We, the people, need to act and get involved and demand transparency and accountability. Hey, Donald, you want to talk about this secret facility with Sam Bushman on the radio?
How would you like to help this program reach more people and earn silver at the same time? Call or text 801-669-2211 for complete details.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Senate Republicans have handed President Trump a victory on tariffs. Republicans voting down a Democratic resolution that would have blocked the president's tariffs. Their levies, and Mr. Trump says, are already producing jobs, making America rich again. Before you blame him for the economy's contraction in the first quarter, President Trump has one word for you: Bidenomics.
For the first time in 3 years, the U.S. economy did not grow during the first quarter. Donald Trump was in office for more than 2 of the 3 months, but he claimed he isn't to blame for the contraction.
That's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January. This is quarterly numbers.
The president is telling Americans to be patient, arguing that his tariffs would eventually lead to an economic boom. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Treasury Secretary Bessent says the newly inked U.S.-Ukraine economic cooperation deal should send a message to Vladimir Putin.
Today's agreement signals clearly to Russian leadership that the Trump administration is committed to a peace process centered on a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine over the long term. It's time for this cruel and senseless war to end.
Under the deal, the U.S. gets development rights to Ukraine's rare earth minerals. This will help Ukraine repay its war debts and will fund reconstruction of the country once the war is over. Oman's foreign minister says the next round of nuclear talks, scheduled for Saturday between Iran and the U.S., have been postponed. Those talks were to have been held in Rome. Deadly spring storms have pounded parts of the nation's midsection and some points to the east. Flash flooding produced by thunderstorms in Texas and Oklahoma blamed for at least 2 deaths. On Wall Street, the Dow trading 318 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I've been thinking, why does it feel like losing weight is harder than ever before? With mixed messages, fad diets, the quick fix injections, even magic coffee. I mean, it's overwhelming. Most people are exhausted trying to fight a battle they cannot win. If you feel this way, trust me, you're not alone. I used to feel that way too. But let me tell you, it's not your fault. Your body is working against you, and the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Do what I did. I called PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition 3 years ago. I lost 53 pounds. I feel terrific, and I've kept the weight off. Make the phone call that can change your life the way it has changed mine. They won't let you fail. Call 855-696-2020. That's 855-696-2020 to schedule your consultation. The first 11 callers who mentioned the word healthy will get 2 free weeks added to their weight loss package. Call now, 855-696-2020. Mention the keyword healthy to get 2 free weeks. Or visit them at myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com.
If Planned Parenthood were what they publicly declare themselves to be, they would welcome transparency. We all know why they hide, because we know what they hide. We can confirm federal judges who follow the Constitution rather than reverse engineer their preferred policy outcomes. The truth about abortion is spreading because of advances in medical imaging, because of brave journalists, tireless activists, compassionate doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals. The rising generation of young Americans is the most pro-life in decades because they know too. And one day soon, we will reaffirm our nation's principles in their dignified fullness and avow once again that all men are created equal. All are entitled to life.
Looking for an IT partner that truly understands your needs? Managed IT Services is the answer. We meet with you regularly to discuss your goals and form a tailored technology plan. Our customers have called us a trusted advisor who delivers. When it comes to IT, we do it all. Firewalls, cloud storage, server migration, and more. Say goodbye to long-term contracts and hello to a team that earns your business month after month. Call 801-706-6980 now and let Managed IT Services transform your IT experience.
Have you ever had great honey? No, I mean really good, all-natural, raw honey? Well, now you can, thanks to localhoneyman.com. We can ship out our locally made honey all across the U.S. So don't worry, you won't miss out. Plus, Local Honeyman has so many different flavors, like Utah Wildflower, High Desert Delight, Happy Valley, and Blackberry, just to name a few. So purchase your delicious raw honey today at localhoneyman.com.
Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
All right, back with you live. Sam Bushman on your radio, breaking down hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use stories every day on your radio. You want to learn more, go to lovingliberty.net, our nationally syndicated radio network. You can check out the live radio shows, the archived podcasts, the videos, talk show hosts around the clock. Download our iPhone or our Android app to listen anytime, anywhere, or online at lovingliberty.net. I'm Sam Bushman. This is the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show. And we're talking about this situation, about this hidden underground facility located 60 miles west of Washington, D.C., is getting upgrades to help protect the federal government during a crisis. They say it's a secret underground FEMA base where congressional leaders hid following 9/11. Yeah, it's getting an upgrade there. What exactly are workers doing at, they call it Mount Weather? Mount Weather. Well, it's classified, and the contractors doing the work, they've got top security clearances and everything else, so you can't know. The continuity of government sites also include Colorado's Cheyenne Mountain Bunker, with buildings made from, quote, battleship steel, sitting atop giant springs to help them weather a, quote, nuclear attack. Now, here's what's funny about all this. It's classified, right? Well, isn't Donald and team, Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Donald and RFK Jr. and I can go on naming people, right? But aren't they saying, oh, yeah, let's just declassify all kinds of stuff? Let's declassify the UFO stuff. By golly, UFOs are real now. Government lied to you for years and told you they weren't real, and now they say, well, by golly, they are real. Criminal thugs at the federal level lied to you, and now they're going to tell you the truth. We're supposed to learn about the JFK files and the other files about assassinations and Martin Luther King and this and that and Jeffrey Epstein. They're supposed to be declassifying all kind of things, right? Well, Sam, we can't declassify these underground bunkers the government's working on, by golly, because, man, it's classified. We can't let the word get out. It might what? It might put a congressman or senator in danger. Well, what about we, the American people? What about us? What about the redneck average Joe Blow out there like me and you and everybody else? What's going to happen to us when the proverbial, hits the fan, or proverbial hits the fan? What's going to happen to us? Well, Sam, you're going to get locked in your home, and we're going to do kind of like a COVID thing. We're going to lock everybody down, and we're not really going to create any laws. We're just going to create mandates and edicts and lockdowns, and that's what's going to happen to you, Sam. Well, what about food? Well, Sam, if you get too much food, you're a hoarder. Did you know there's an executive order like that? There's an executive order about that. You can't have too much food or you're a hoarder. Meanwhile, these clowns are literally hanging out in San Salvador, eating pupusas and drinking fancy liquids and luxury living and talking about illegal gang thug members they want to protect while they're building a bunker for them. Now, here's the other ironic part about this. What's this thing called? It's what do they call this thing? Mount Weather. Okay. I don't know if you know, but I think Mount Weather only holds like 300 people. Who's going to get in there out of the 435 members of the House and the 100 members of their Senate and all their families and staffers and everything else? Who's all going to get in there? Do you think Mike Johnson's going to be like the Savior, Jesus Christ, to be kind of like the servant and say, y'all go in before me, I'm here to serve? Cheyenne Mountain bunker. Buildings made of literally battleship steel on springs and stuff. And the question becomes, if it's classified, how much money are we spending on it? Maybe Doge could find out. What do you think? You think Doge could dig into that for me? Well, Elon Musk enjoys an applause from Trump's administration. Why? Because he's bidding farewell as the Doge boss. Yeah. Well, so Elon Musk won't be getting into them bunkers, will he? But maybe Doge could find out how much we're spending on this classified boondoggle. You think Elon Musk could find out? No, he's going to run SpaceX, buddy. He's going to run the biggest social media whatever. Big old, okay? That's what they're doing. Is that good? You okay with that? See, I'm not. I'm not at all okay with all that. Where do we go with this kind of thing? What do we do about it? I don't think, as far as I can tell, that Doge can get the classified information for us or find out how much we're spending on it even. Can they? Can Doge get that done? Anyway, I don't really see it. I don't see it at all. And I'm worried about this because I say, what's going to happen if the grid has a grid down scenario? What happens if we can't get the grid up very quickly? I mean, Americans are so dependent on the grid. What are we doing to prevent these possibilities or reduce the likelihood? Usually they talk about a risk-reward analysis, right? Hey, what's the likelihood of this and what are we doing to prepare for it? Or sometimes they call it a SWOT, and businesses go through a SWOT where they check their threats and assessments and opportunities and options, and they look at the landscape internally and externally to say, where do we sit? Where are we at? What do we do? How do we improve things? How do we protect ourselves? How do we, in all these different things, okay? It's like a SWOT analysis is what they call it. I can't remember what the acronym stands right now. What the acronym stands for right now, but it's threats and assessments and opportunities and whatever. Okay. You look at all that and you go, man, what on earth is going to happen to we the people? And are you comfortable with this secret underground FEMA base? Oh, I forgot to ask the question. Is FEMA even constitutional, people? Right? Is it really, folks, appropriate for them to have a classified thing that we don't know how much we're spending when they work for us? Well, Sam, you got to protect government, by golly. Do you? How much do you have to protect government officials? And if we're going to protect them, I started out with this discussion by saying, why would we put them all in one location in the first place? It doesn't sound like a wise move. If I can do something to that location, I mean, they can just take me out, right? By the way, they say SWAT stands for Special Weapons and Tactics. They say it relates to a special unit in the police. That's not the kind of SWAT I was looking for, though. Right? SWAT term in business. Shall I type in to see what it says? Because there's a SWOT analysis that people do. Yeah, it's SWOT analysis, not SWAT, they say. That's right. SWOT analysis stands for strengths. That's the first letter. What gives the organization an advantage over others? Weaknesses. Internal factors that place the organization at a disadvantage. Opportunities, external factors that the organization could exploit or take advantage of for its benefit. Threats, that's the T, external factors that could cause trouble for the organization. It's a strategic planning tool used by businesses. All right, have they done a SWOT analysis on this? Right? Think about that for a minute. Is that something that makes sense? I think we need a SWOT analysis. I mean, if we're literally going to be building bunkers for congressmen and senators and these kind of people, and we don't know how much it is, it's all classified and everything else, what about a SWOT analysis, though? Don't you think the American people ought to have a little bit of knowledge about the SWOT analysis that's taking place there? And if one hasn't taken place, don't you think we ought to do that before we spend untold money on secret classified bunkers? But if they're building the bunkers, you have to assume they've kind of gone through somewhat of a SWOT analysis, or at least the government equivalent thereof, right? Anyway, I just don't understand it. But don't you think we, the American people, are entitled to a SWOT analysis on the nation's grid and on a few things here? How do we as individuals prepare if I'm not in that special elite group known as Congress that gets to go to the, I'm going to just call it Camp Weather. They're at Camp El Salvador eating pupusas now, and if things go bad, they're going to go into Camp Weather for safety, and you and I are going to be hung out to dry. Is that how it is?
As a parent, is receiving a faith-based, character-focused education for your children difficult to find? Do you believe that godly principles should be a central component in your child's education? Imagine a school where faith and integrity are at its center, where heritage and responsibility instill character. For over 40 years, American Heritage School has been educating both hearts and minds, bringing out academic excellence. This is the school where character and embracing the providence of a living God are fundamental, where students' national test scores average near the 90th percentile. With American Heritage School's advanced distance education program, distance is no longer an issue. With an accredited LDS-oriented curriculum from kindergarten through 12th grade, your children can attend from anywhere in the world. American Heritage School will prepare your child for more than a job. It will prepare them for life. To learn more, visit American-Heritage.org. That's American-Heritage.org.
Do you treasure your liberty? Well, at lovingliberty.net, we most certainly do. And we want to help protect your liberty too. Become part of the family. Everyone knows that the core of any society is the family. Therefore, the government should foster and protect the integrity of its family, we the people. Won't you join us as a Loving Liberty sponsor to help us promote the principles in the 5,000-year leap? Let's restore the miracle that changed the world at lovingliberty.net.
As you are aware, America is divided over every fault line possible. This is intentionally fostered by those who do not love God, family, or country. We believe a peaceful future as a free people absolutely depends on civility. Clarion Call for Civility is looking for funding and volunteers at every level to make our hopes and efforts a reality. Please donate, sign our pledge, and help us in our sacred cause. Please visit callforcivility.com for more details. Callforcivility.com.
All right, back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sam Bushman, wondering if they've conducted a SWOT analysis. Yeah, did our government perform a SWOT analysis? Question mark. A SWOT analysis is a strategic planning tool used by businesses to identify and evaluate 4 components in order to make informed decisions and put in place strategic plans. Yeah. I just think about that and I just think, wow, that's really worthy of discussion, is it not? Remember, this is Solutions Radio. So if you're looking for entertainment where we just run around and mock people or slam people or down people, or it ain't the right place, folks. That's not Liberty Roundtable Live. Our goal is to provide true, valuable solutions to problems we face. So I'm saying, hey, if the government has classified bunkers that we don't know how much they cost, do they do a SWOT analysis first? Yeah, a strategic planning tool to find out what's going on, to look at our strengths, our internal factors that benefit us, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. Have we done that? Because here's what's fascinating. While you and I struggle to make ends meet, while most of us can't move if we wanted to because we can't afford a house with the out-of-control interest rates and the inflation that's just plaguing this country, these guys are literally hanging out in El Salvador eating pupusas and having a good time. Right? And while they're building a bunker in case of an emergency, so they go from this fancy hotel in El Salvador to a bunker if things go bad, with all kinds of who knows what kind of protection, because it's classified, so we don't know. Donald, release the details. Release the SWOT report, buddy. If you don't have one, shame on you, and we need to get one ASAP. What can the American people do? And maybe I need to create a SWOT analysis to recommend what we can do as people, individuals, communities, Americans. Starting victory gardens, as I've already told you, is one of the keys, right? Anyway, while all that's going on, Starbucks making a turnaround. Did you hear about this Starbucks turnaround? It's kind of interesting. It's fascinating. Starbucks opens first 3D printed store this week. What? Yeah, it's a 1,400 square foot Starbucks. It's in Brownsville, Texas. It's slated to open on May 2nd. So I guess it opens tomorrow, actually. And it's a 3D printed store. Here's what we know about it. Starbucks brewed up, they say, something new in their effort to build its latest store, right? A 3D printer they used. The coffee giant says it's the first one in the country. It'll offer what they call drive-through and mobile pickup of their I don't know what you want to call it, coffee, goods and certain things they sell. And the reason I'm hesitating is because they've updated their menu big time too. You got the Manuel Chekin, I think is how you say his name. Anyway, he's the city's director of communications and marketing. He told USA Today, hey, this thing's awesome. It'll be drive-through, mobile pickup. Anyway, it's kind of interesting. Starbucks confirmed the opening date to USA Today, but didn't comment further. Now, here's what's interesting. The company referred USA Today to videos of the project, I guess, that are posted on social media. So the way you learn about it, I guess, is go to social media. It's a big old promotion. While 3D printing technology is not new, folks, Starbucks is among the first retailers to use the machinery to build a storefront. I'm just surprised it fulfills all kinds of requirements relating to infrastructure. You know, you got all kinds of government guidelines of, you know, you got to build this to this spec and that spec and everything else. When I went down and saw the Boxables in Las Vegas and did a video about that, by the way, you can check it out on my YouTube channel. They were talking about that, hey, they're just struggling because of all the regulations that they run into and everything else. Maybe Starbucks has the ability to skip that. I don't know. Last year, a Walmart in Tennessee constructed a 3D printed addition to their store, spanning 8,000 square feet. That's huge. You say, Sam, that's not that big. Folks, we're talking about something that's 3D printed. What do you mean it's not that big of a deal? They say, here's what's to know about the new Starbucks and the technologies used to build it, right? Now, interestingly enough, in Brownsville, that's along the U.S.-Mexico border, of all places. I find that interesting. They say this, and I find this really fascinating. The location is the chain's fourth shop in the city of Brownsville. It's more than 190,000 people. And you got to ask yourself, well, what's a 3D printer, right? Because a lot of people don't even know what that is. I mean, I'd love to have a hobby of playing with 3D printers, but it takes money and time, right? What is a 3D printer? Similar to a traditional printer, a 3D printer uses a computer to create a product and instead joins material together to create a 3D dimensional object. They place materials by layering and fusing layers together from the bottom up. Anyway, the bottom line is these printers have been around since the 80s. And, it's kind of the first stores that they're getting this done. This technology is continuing to grow, people. And it's very fascinating. Because what's interesting is they built housing projects with these these things as well, right? They're layering using fusing from the bottom up. It's interesting. It's fascinating technology, and I guess what I understand is they've actually already built houses with this kind of stuff in Texas. The device has been around for a long time. This is interesting. They say the printers are now faster and cheaper than ever before. I guess there's different printers that are different sizes too. So even when you think about this as being a regular printer, it's huge, right? If you're building houses with it. 3D printers have been increasingly used to build buildings. A neighborhood of 3D homes was completed last year in Texas. Anyway, I just find the whole thing fascinating. I do a talk show on the weekends, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard about it. And the show that I do that is technology, it's on the weekends. It's called Tech Watch Radio. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. And that talk show is available on the weekends, or you can listen to it as a podcast. So we do 1 hour show on the weekends, turn it into 2 half-hour podcasts to be released 2 times a week. We're thinking about and working on doing Tech Watch videos like we do the radio show. Like we do tech. We're going to do Tech Watch Radio videos like we do Liberty Roundtable videos now. We're thinking about that as we speak. But if you want to check out the Tech Watch Radio show, you can check it out at lovingliberty.net, or you can go to npitechguys.com and check that out. Anyway, they use a steel nozzle to create concrete layers, is how they say this thing works. Isn't that fascinating? They say this reduces the amount of wall work that need to be done and the complications. And anyway, I'd love to build 3D printed houses. I wonder if that's a possibility for me. But anyway, Starbucks in the news, right? I just find the whole thing very interesting. Did you hear about this in the mainstream press? Because they're willing to talk about this in the mainstream press, right? Anyway, there you go. I just thought I'd go off on this Starbucks 3D printing thing because it was a fascinating story, right? I think it was really great. And I hope that we can use more of this for construction. You know, one of the big things we have when we talk about inflation and housing shortages and all these kind of things, what could be done to change the game, right? What could be done to decrease the costs and make it easy to print homes, or make it easy for people to replace their home? Let's say you have a great piece of property, but you want to replace your home, or maybe leave one home there and add another home, maybe a smaller mother-in-law apartment kind of a home. And see, all these things could change the game in America. So anyway, I think it's very cool Walmart did this. I think it's very cool that Starbucks is doing this. I think it's very cool that they did a home subdivision in Texas that are doing this. We'll keep an eye on this innovative ball. Remember, this is Solutions Radio, right? That's why I went down to Vegas and interviewed the Boxable people on video. And that's why I'm covering this story as well, because it's very like-minded. And the solutions and the benefits and the cost analysis are obvious. I mean, do a SWOT on how to get a new home. A SWOT analysis and say, hey, what's the best way? These 3D printed solutions, layers and layers upon layers of cement printed by a steel nozzle. Incredible 3D printing. The technology is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Let's embrace it and see what we can do to make things better, cheaper, faster, more affordable. I mean, the list goes on, right? All right, lovingliberty.net, libertyroundtable.com. Spread the word, share the love, and God save our republic.